Hello, everybody. All right. Anyways, hopefully everybody's having a good day today. Now, hopefully we won't have the problem we had last night, where my connection kind of went out. Hopefully that was just a temporary issue. Um, anyways, I hope everybody's having a good day today. Um, we're gonna give people a chance to come in here before we get started. Of course. Let me see. Let's see now. All right. Anyways, Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey, and I thank you for whoever just put as if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. Um, that will hopefully and hopefully we can get some more people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. As it would seem, we do have some other people in here. I guess I will talk about what's on tap for tonight. So, going to go over 3 articles from Bounding into Comics. A couple comic related articles, and then and also a kind of a live action adaptation of a cartoon from the 90s, the Gargoyles. The wrestling wrap up, and then of course this day in each history. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get to, as I said, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started here? All right. So the first article of the evening, as it were, we're gonna look at this one right here. All right. So artist Kelly Jones to team up with Grendel creator Matt Wagner for a new Dracula story. Article by John F. Trent, published this past Friday the 13th. So artist Kelly Jones, known for his iconic horror art, is teaming up with Grendel creator Matt Wagner to create a brand new Dracula story. There's the cover right there. Quite realistic looking, isn't it? hmm. Hmm. All right, continuing on with the article here. Speaking with the Hollywood Reporter, Wagner informed the outlet, quote, "Our version of Dracula is bloody, sexy, and monstrous." Obviously, this one's a R-rated comic. This is something that would have had to gone underground back 60, 70 years ago. He elaborated, quote, "This is very much a horror story with deep roots in Stoker's novel." It's Bram Stoker, for those who may not know. But this isn't yet another retelling of the novel in comics form. We're bringing you the never before told stories behind the story, the sinister tales hidden in the shadows of the original graphic novel. Unquote. So what? We're gonna get a little bit of a you didn't know type segment here from this story. Hey, Shadowhawk. Kelly Batman is badass as well. Kelly's Batman. All right. Mhm. Anyways, getting back to the. And JR is here. Alright, hey JR. Hail Xenu and Xena. Alright. We're getting a prequel. That does sound like what it is there, Shadowhawk. According to Boris Kitt at the Hollywood Reporter, the story will follow Dracula's time at Satan's, quote, seminary of the dark arts, the Scholomance, okay, unquote. Wagner came to Jones with the pitch, who believed it would initially be a Batman or Grendel story. Commenting on the story, Jones said, quote, so much has already been done with the Vampire Lord. Matt then wove his tale to me like a late night ghost story. My excitement when he told me his plans for the uh, Wallachian Prince of Darkness um, was what every artist, hell, every fan of horror or just great comics wants. Unquote. The story comes from Orlock Press and is titled Dracula Volume 1 The Impaler and is expected to launch a crowd-funded campaign on Kickstarter. It will be a 112-page graphic novel. Jose Villarrubia um, is coloring the book. Here's a Detective Comics Batman cover, Batman Nightfall trade paperback, volume 02, 25th anniversary edition, cover art by Kelly Jones. On X, Jones noted this would be the first of 4 graphic novels from him and Wagner. He wrote, quote, I'm happy to announce this great project with old friend Matt Wagner, in smaller quotes, Dracula Impaler, on smaller quote. The first 4 graphic, boy it is, novels, boy it is graphic, I guess is what he was trying to say there in parentheses there, by us, happy Halloween, unquote. And considering, of course, Halloween is 2 weeks away, right? Um, let's see. Jones also noted that the first novel was already completely finished. Quote, did I mention the first volume's done? Because it is, unquote. And I guess the guy on the left is Matt Wagner, and the guy on the right is Kelly Jones. Hmm. Let's see if you guys are saying anything more here. JR saying, hail Mike and Hawk. All right. And of course, for those who may not have yet, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that would be appreciated. Also, as always, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, we'll continue on with the article here. Jones previously discussed the project during an appearance on the Comic Lounge, revealing that each of the 4 graphic novels are, quote, self-contained stories, but it's the same character as he evolves, unquote. He added, quote, and it is pure horror, unquote. Do you plan on checking out Wagner and Jones' Dracula Volume 1, The Impaler? All right, so there we go with that one. That was it for that one. Let's see if you guys have said anything new as of yet. Nope. All right, we'll get ready to move on to the next story we'll do here. This is this one right here. For cartoon fans, are there those from the 90s? An interesting little tidbit coming up here. Disney Plus announces plans for live-action Gargoyle series, helmed by "quote-unquote" Annabelle series writer Gary Dauberman. Article by Spencer McCulley, published yesterday, October 16th. All right, so in an odd bit of poetry, considering how the series protagonists want nothing more than to come to life, Disney has officially announced that a live action Gargoyle series is now in development for the eponymous streaming service. There's one of the classic scenes from the opening scenes of Gargoyles right there. First unveiled to the public on October 16th, courtesy of an exclusive from The Hollywood Reporter. The series will reportedly be produced by the Conjuring universe architect James Wan and Gary Dauberman's Atomic Monster production company, with the latter best known for writing the Annabelle and the Nun series of films, serving as its writer, producer, and showrunner. Currently considered to be in "quote unquote" early development by Disney, the production has yet to provide any further details regarding its production team, cast, direction, or release date have yet to be revealed. Created by an unspecified team of creators, among whose ranks were such noteworthy talents as Batman the Animated Series writer Michael Reeves and Young Justice creator Greg Weisman. Of course, yes, Greg Weisman was one of the guys who originally also was involved in the Gargoyles cartoon. Gargoyle centers around the few remaining survivors of the Wyvern clan, a group of the titular creatures who fled their home in ancient Scotland after its human inhabitants, giving in to their own fears of the unknown, moved to eradicate them from the land. Though the humans managed to slaughter many of the gargoyles by shattering them to pieces while they were rendered immobile during their daytime "quote unquote" stone sleep, a small group led by the clan's leader, Goliath, who was voiced by Keith David, manages to escape death only to succumb to their enemies' backup plans, a magical spell which curses the afflicted to sleep until their castle home rises above the clouds, unquote. Now, one of the other and there's Demona, who is voiced by Marina Sirtis. Now, one of the other interesting little things about this series too was that they got a number of Star Trek voice actors, primarily, of course, from the Next Generation, to lend their voices. Of course, we just saw Demona right there, who was voiced by Marina Sirtis. He did Counselor Deanna Troy in Star Trek Next Generation, and as we're about to read here, Jonathan Frakes as Xanatos in the Gargoyle series. Michael Dorn also lent his voice. Let's see. Michael Dorn. Let's see. Brent Spiner. And of course, also Kate Mulgrew, who would later on go on to portray Captain Catherine Janeway on Star Trek Voyager. But this goal eventually accomplished when New York billionaire David Xanatos, who is, again, as we previously mentioned, Jonathan Frakes, builds a skyscraper and replaces their home atop his roof. Goliath and his fellow survivors, Hudson, who is voiced by Ed Asner, of course, Mary Tyler Moore and Lou Grant fame. Um, Trying to check something here. All right. Let's see. Brooklyn, who is voiced by Jeff Bennett, pretty well-known voice actor in the Western animation industry. A number of voices he's done for numerous cartoons, including, of course, um, I think he was a Joker in Batman: Brave and the Bold. That's probably one of the ones I remember off the top of my head. Lexington, who is voiced by Tom Advox. I think it's actually Adcox. I've seen it as Adcox, not Advox. Hernandez, who of course would go on to voice Clary and the Witch Boy and Young Justice. Um, Broadway, by Bill Fagerbakke. They said got her again misspelling the word. Either the guy didn't hear the name right, or they just did a couple typos there. Bill Fagerbakke, who of course one of his other well-known roles was on Coach with Craig T. Nelson, Jerry Van Dyke, and Shirley Fabre. He was the kind of the younger assistant coach of the two there, and their pet Bronx, all of whom took their modern-day monikers from various city landmarks. Of course, Hudson from the river, and then the others, Brooklyn, Lexington, Broadway, and Bronx from the various boroughs. Awaken to find themselves in a world completely unfamiliar to them. Understandably confused and also seeking to use their supernatural abilities for good, the gargoyles proceed to receive assistance in acclimating from police detective Elise Maza, whose voice was provided by Sally Richardson. Don't really know what other work she's done. Who helps to both teach the newcomers the ways of the world and direct their powers towards the villains who deserve it. Originally running from 1994 to 1997 for a total of 3 seasons, the series' first 2 seasons would receive critical and commercial success, with Gargoyles to this day still receiving mention amidst conversations, debates regarding the West's best animated productions. Now, those first 2 seasons were first run syndication. Disney did first run syndication, so I think they had a little bit more room to play with, as it were. Because what happened the third season, they tried to turn it into a Saturday morning cartoon, and it probably just didn't go over quite as well when they made that transition, because they shifted from like weekday afternoon to Saturday mornings. However, its last season would not be privy to that same acclaim, as thanks to a combination of many of its original writers having moved on to new projects, thanks to their belief that the series would soon face cancellation, and a surprise renewal from Disney based on their need to fill the then newly acquired ABC Saturday morning cartoon block. Gargoyle's third season, subtitled The Goliath Chronicles, has largely gone down in history as an absolute disaster. Oh, okay, I've watched it. Granted, while it wasn't maybe quite as thrilling as the first 2 seasons, there were some good parts to it. Um, I remember the one where Goliath actually went on trial, and of course his public defender was voiced by Gabriel Carteris of Beverly Hills 90210 fame. But anyways, though the property lay dormant for the next 10 years, the Gargoyles license would eventually be picked up by independent comic book publisher Steve Labor Graphics, who in turn announced that they would be publishing a new book written by the aforementioned Weisman, which would ignore the Goliath Chronicles and serve as the series' actual third season. So before I do go on, I'm sorry, I just remember I forgot to do one more thing. I'm going to I'm gonna put some music on real quick here. Um, I'll be right back. Real quick here. Anyways, sadly, this endeavor would come to a crashing halt 2 years later as slave labor graphics found it too expensive to keep up with Disney's increasing licensing fees. As such, this attempt to revive Goliath and crew was brought to a close after only 18 core issues and a 6-issue miniseries, Bad Guys. However, roughly 16 years later, the property would be revived once again, this time courtesy of a new comic book series published by Dynamite Entertainment. Written once again by Weisman, the aptly titled Gargoyle Season 4 tells a brand new story spinning out of the continuity introduced in slave labor graphic short-lived series. Thankfully for fans of the winged heroes, it seems this attempt to bring gargoyles back to life has taken, as not only is the debut revival title still ongoing, albeit coming to a close next month, in parentheses there, but Dynamite Comics has also greenlit the publishing of Gargoyles Dark Ages, a spin-off book focused exclusively on the series' resident angel of the night, Demona. Oh, that sounds interesting. Anyway, so basically, what they did towards the end there talk about the actual comics that were being published. They are Disney Plus is planning on streaming a live action adaptation of the original show, so that should prove to be a very interesting scenario there. With that, let's see now. Anyways, alrighty then. So let's get ready to move on to the next story here. 24 minutes. All right, so Marvel Comics unveils Ultimate Reboot launch titles. Hence, Spider-Man will feature, in quotes here, a bit of a Peter B. Parker situation, unquote. Article by Spencer McCooley, published today, October 17th. So here we go. In light of the maker's success at restoring Earth 1610 to its proper spot in the publisher's multiverse, in the pages of Ultimate Invasion, Marvel Comics has officially unveiled the first three titles set to lead the upcoming reboot of their Ultimate imprint. As seen at the conclusion of the aforementioned event series, thanks to the intervention of Howard Stark, otherwise known as the King of the Conqueror of the 1610, the Ultimate Universe has finally been freed of the Maker's self-indulgent machinations. Its destiny finally its own to choose for the first time since its recent rebirth at the villain's hands. In light of this new frontier, Marvel Comics took the stage at their next big thing panel during New York City Comic Con 2024 to further inform readers as to just what's in store for the revived continuity line. Per the publisher, the 1610's new lease on life kicks off in September with the release of Ultimate Invasion. Creative duo Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch's Ultimate Universe #1, a one-shot, quote, packed with previews and insights of what's to come, unquote. That might be one of the covers there. From there, January will see the release of Hickman and noted Daredevil Volume 6 artist Marco Cicchetto's take on Ultimate Spider-Man. Teasing the book's contents at New York City Comic Con attendees, Hickman asserted, quote, Ultimate Spider-Man is a book I never thought I'd be writing. It's a bit of a Peter B. Parker situation, unquote. Don't exactly know what that means, but interestingly, in the above teaser trailer for the new Ultimate line, Marvel hinted that this new Ultimate Spider-Man book may also feature supporting cast consisting of the symbiote suit-clad Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara's Spider-Man 20. Let's see, a symbiote suit-clad Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara's Spider-Man 2099, and the original Scarlet Spider himself, completely devoid of any chasm-related nonsense. Ben Riley. In light of these visual cameos, as well as Hickman's explicit mention of smaller Peter B. Parker, um, a moniker ever only used in reference to the older version of the original web slinger featured in Spider-Verse series of films. Seems there's a good chance that this new series will stand to either set up or serve as synergy um, to the third and final film in the animated trilogy. Let me see. I guess I'll see if I can grab some. All right. All right. All right. So next up is February's Ultimate Black Panther, as helmed by Blade Volume 5 writer and former The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 artist Stefano Caselli, which will see the esteemed African king, fighting back against the expansionist hopes of his neighbors. The royal pair of Khonshu and Ra, otherwise known collectively as Moon Knight. Quote, I was invigorated by this opportunity because, in addition to my immense respect for Jonathan Hickman's detailed storytelling, the idea of shepherding this bold new take on Black Panther in this event gives me a platform to do the kind of broad, epic storytelling I've always wanted to do in comics. Unquote, beamed Hill. While speaking to Marvel in promotion of the series. Unquote. Noting that his own creative influences on the series, quote, range from the history of the Black Panther comics to Ryan Coogler's incredible work with the recent films to Frank Herbert's world-building capacity of Dune, unquote, Hill concluded, quote, this is something you won't expect in the best of ways, and full credit to Marvel and editors Will Moss and Michelle Marchese for bringing this creative possibility to me, unquote. Finally, March will herald the arrival of Ultimate X-Men, which will be handled exclusively by arguably one of the publisher's best and currently working talents, Peach Momoko. Peach Peach! Peach Peach! Momoko is a Japanese word for peach, so I call it Peach Peach. She has the English version of the word for her first name and Japanese version of the word for her last name. So, and focuses on Hisako Ichiki, perhaps better known in the 616 by her team codename Armor, as she grapples with both her burgeoning mutant powers and their connection to the Japanese legends of old. Quote, I am very honored to be part of the new Ultimate Universe, unquote, expressed Momoko. During an interview with Marvel, quote, I am very careful to in delivering the unique X-Men mutant elements while still being true to my vision and voice, unquote. Quote, I am also very proud, and in parentheses, and surprised, in parentheses there, that I was given enough freedom from C.B. Cebulski and Jonathan Hickman to create a brand new X-Men character, unquote, she added. Curiously, Momoko concluded her brief statement by seemingly hinting that her upcoming Ultimate X-Men may share some connection with her previous Japanese folklore-inspired takes on Marvel's roster of heroes as featured in previous Demon Days miniseries. Quote, it might not be the normal portrayal of a superhero, unquote, she concluded. Quote, but I am excited to introduce everyone to a new chapter to my Momoko verse, unquote. Well, there we go with that one. See, what's your favorite 2001 Disney movie? I don't think I was watching any Disney movies in 2001. I don't really, for that matter, I don't go out and watch a whole lot of movies to begin with there. So, anyways, yeah, let's see now. 35 minutes. Alrighty then. So, now with that being said, that was all the stories I was going to focus on going over tonight. Let's see now. What should I talk about? Let's see, 35 minutes here. So, all right. So I guess maybe I will get started with the wrestling wrap up here a little bit. So of course on last night's Raw, you had a couple title matches. As you know, of course, the WWE is preparing in another, I believe it's 3 weeks here, for another 3 weeks here, I guess, for for their next event, which will be Crown Jewel, which will be the show they hold in Saudi Arabia. Now, as such, what happened on last night's Raw in terms of building on storylines and stuff, let's see. So, in the main event, saw Judgment Day team of Finn Balor and Damian Priest retake the unified world tag titles from Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, as Jimmy Uso came to interfere in that match and cost them the titles, reminding Jey that he can't exactly escape him just because he jumps brands. Also, over the weekend, it was revealed that in the trade to get Jey Uso for Raw, SmackDown was able to get Kevin Owens, splitting up, of course, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Zayn not too happy with his former running buddy in the bloodline of Jey Uso because of that. Also, Gunther successfully retained the Intercontinental title over Bronson Reed. And Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Ricochet in a Falls Count Anywhere's match. Now, Reed and Ricochet were given enough time to look good in defeat. So we'll see what happens there. The Rhea Ripley Raquel Rodriguez match ended up in a no contest, as it ended up being a 5-way brawl. That also involved, let me see if I remember who the names were there. Well, Shayna Baszler was in there. I think Shayna Baszler was the only one I could remember off the top of my head. Basically, it was a 5-way ended up being a 5-way brawl that may set up for something later. Now, the WWE is potentially also talking about a potential hair versus mask match between Rey Mysterio Jr. and his son Dominique that they may be looking for down the line. Down the line, possibly for WrestleMania. But also, Ray has gotten some attention recently from Logan Paul, who has been saying that he wants to challenge Ray for the United States title. Now, as such, they might be trying to set up that match for Crown Jewel. And of course, Drew McIntyre continues to kind of hint at a heel turn, in terms of his attitude on Raw. We'll have to wait and see. Now, in AEW news, apparently Sting has asked for some time on tomorrow night's Dynamite. It's rumored that he might be announcing his retirement tour. There's some talk that Sting might be preparing for, now Sting's 64 years old. He's still going at it. He's still, granted, he's not somebody who's going to be on every show, but he's still, for a 64-year-old man, he's still performing pretty well, you know, and of course, having acted as Darby Allin's mentor these last 3 or 4 years during his time in AEW, as Darby is finally looking like he's about ready to spread his wings finally and go out more on his own. So there has been talk that Sting would like Darby Allin to possibly be part of that storyline. But who will Sting face in his retirement match? We don't know as of yet, but that will probably come to fruition soon enough. All right, so that's all the wrestling news we'll do for tonight. So now we're gonna go ahead and Today is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. We're exactly 2 weeks away from Halloween here. So the spooky. Now, from what I understand, what I was looking at the weather report here where I'm at in Southern California, it looks like we're going to finally start cooling down probably at the end of next week. We've still been carrying over summer a little bit here, with it being in the 80s. But anyways, with that, let's go ahead. Today is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. So let's take a look back at this day in each history. And first off, we're going to head back 60 years ago today, as on this date, 60 years ago, I believe that's how long ago it was. Yeah, 1963. On this date, 60 years ago today, oh, here we go again. I'd better hurry this up. All right, hold on. Looks like maybe starting to have some problems here. Hello? All right, that sounds all right. All right. All right, let's try this again here. Oh, well, I guess you guys probably can't see it, or if you can, that's great. Um, so on this, your channel is 10% better than the Poke Couple. All right, well, thank you for that. Anyways, so I'll just read this off then. So on this date, back in 1963, the Beast, whose real name was Yvonne Cormier, the famous Cormier family, also had, of course, Leo Burke, Bobby Burke, and Rudy Kay. But the Beast defeated Johnny Valentine for the NWA the Toronto version of the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship. So on this date, 60 years ago today, the Beast defeated Johnny Valentine for the Toronto version of the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship. All right, so there we go with that. I'll hopefully try to finish this up quick here before things really get out of hand. Moving ahead. that one went through. All right. All right. So on this date back in 1998, the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper aired its final episode on this date back in 1998, 25 years ago today, on Fox Kids. The final episode of the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper, based on the Harvey Toons character Casper the Friendly Ghost, finished its run on Fox Kids. And finally, on this date, 5 years ago today, 2018, just trying to make sure we can get this on for crying out. There we go. All right, on this date, 5 years ago, the 10th and final issue of Archie and Friends Digital Digest went on sale on this date back in 2018, 5 years ago today. Sold for 99 cents, was 10 pages. So there we go. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Let's see. We'll be back here, of course, tomorrow with more Niche news. Also, this Friday, Rick Piper will be joining me as we take a look back through comics history. We'll be looking at comics that went on sale from Fox Feature Syndicate from back in December 1939. So with that, I hope everybody has a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.